Hi guys, how's everybody doing? Sorry I haven't been on in a while. I've actually been thinking of something. I'm working on a video. I just went out today to print out some stuff, so probably tomorrow I'm going to post it. But in the meantime, I was just thinking there's a little bit of homework that you could do with your friends. So here it is. Ask everybody you know, where is Ireland's treasury located? They need to give you the name of the organisation and the address. And just see how many people can actually give you that piece of information. Because 99% of Irish people do not know where Ireland's treasury is. And it's important because the people who run the world are Iranian, Italian, Phoenician, Venetian, Babylonian, pirate, crime families. There seems to be a problem in people understanding that the families who run the world are criminals. That's why there's no justice. That's why nothing works, yeah? Never attribute to incompetence what can be attributed to malice. I'm going to say that 2 more times, so maybe it'll enter some skulls, right? Never attribute to incompetence what can be attributed to malice. And once more, never attribute to incompetence what can be attributed to malice. They are not incompetent. They are not stupid. They are criminal. They are thieves. They steal everything for themselves because that is their nature. That is who they are. Okay? So tomorrow I'm going to put together a video, but I'll give you a little taste of what I'll be going on about. So people say to me all the time, the black nobility, I don't know them. They didn't do nothing to me. I don't know who they are. Okay. Again, simple question. Do you pay for insurance? Do you pay car insurance? Do you pay home insurance? If you're a business owner, do you have to pay for insurance to cover your property and your employees? Do you know who started insurance? It was some Babylonian cunts, yeah? The Code of Hammurabi. That lad, back in 3300 BC was actually the first one. That was before Hammurabi. But yeah, 3300 BC was when the first insurance policy, or what we would think of, and the idea of insurance began. And by the 1st century AD, all those cunts were billionaires because they'd already had 3,000 years of charging people insurance. And that's another nearly 3,000 years now on the other side where they've been charging us insurance, plus all the other fees and tolls and everything else. Hohenzollern Castle is owned by Prince Hohenzollern and a Prince of Prussia. Yeah, you thought Princes of Prussia all fucking died, right? You thought Germany is a democracy. Sorry. I can't help but laugh. There are no democracies. Yeah. Constitutions are just a lie to try and appease the people. We are all just subjects of Rome. Yeah. Jewish men think that they wear the yarmulke to separate them from God. They think it's a religious thing. Actually, the Roman emperor made them wear that to show their allegiance to the Roman emperor. That's why the Pope wears that little capping, because he's the emperor of Rome. And millions of Jews walk around wearing the little capping, not knowing that they're showing their loyalty to the emperor of Rome. Isn't that some shit? Oh, and the Wailing Wall is not a temple wall. It was actually built by the Romans. So they're all praying at a Roman wall wearing a Roman cap. So I'll go into more detail about how all religions have been had by those people. I'll call them people. I don't really think they're people, but I won't go into much to that right now today. But yeah, you are ruled over by Babylonian, Iranian, Roman, pirate, Robin bastards. That's who rules the world. So if you pay insurance, it's because of a Babylonian cunt. If you're getting ripped off for taxes and tolls, it's because you're being robbed by Babylonian, Iranian, Robin cunts. Yeah? And Hohenzollern Castle, yeah, so Zoll means toll in German. So their family name actually includes toll because that's what they were known for. There was a trade route that went between their lands. They were right next to the Habsburgs. So the Habsburgs and the Hohenzollerns would be going back and forth, fighting each other over this toll money. Because that's another one of their scams, right? As well as insurance. So they tell you in their name, do you pay tolls? When you get in your car, do you pay tolls? Do you have to pay a toll? Yeah? So let's see now so far. What is the tally of how they're influencing your life? Well, you pay insurance, you pay tolls, you pay tax. They're robbing your time. Don't they tell you that time is money? That's exactly what it is. Time is money. They steal your time here for their bullshit money. Most people think that money is paper. It's not. It's not. I can wash this. I can put this in my jacket or my jeans and fucking wash it and it comes out the same. Why? Because it's cotton. They had people in America picking cotton every day for 200 years for nothing. And people think it was for what? Like for fucking bonnets and petticoats and hankies and bed sheets? Really? 200 years picking this shit for nothing. Well, it wasn't for nothing. It was for this. So that's how cheap they are. They don't even want to pay for the base materials for what they want for their business. They make sure they don't fucking pay for it. No, they're going to get that shit for free. At our expense, at the expense of our time and our life. You know, when a woman is in labour in the hospital, they're not talking about her physical pain because they could quite honestly give a flying fuck. They're talking about the labour of her baby out in the world for them. That's what labour really means. They're talking about the future investment of the little human. Yeah. It's a very serious time, guys. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to work on this thing. That's why I've been so quiet, because I've had to sit and figure out what is the best way to show you. But I think I finally have it. Because you need to see what's going on, who these people are, because they've never changed. They've been the same for millennia, literally millennia. And there is nothing new under the sun. And they actually worship the sun, most of them. That's their actual religion, going back to ancient Egypt. They worship Horus, Apollo, all these guys. Why do you think Trump puts the bronzer on his face? How many men do you know put bronzer on their face? That's he's wearing his religion on his face. And you don't see it. You think something else is going on. That's why he puts gold everywhere. Gold in his Trump Tower apartment. Gold in the Oval Office. Did you ever see the Oval Office looking as gold as it is right now? I mean, they're all into it, but he's like the Golden Dawn. Like, that's his job. He is supposed to be the manifestation of their sun god. He's playing that part for them. Because they all have different roles, right? So that's who he is. I mean, if you knew any farmer or any other lad around the place who every day had to put on a badly put on, because you see the line on his face, right? Because it's not blended in. He doesn't blend. He just leaves it like right in the middle, like a blob. If you knew someone locally who was doing that, you would think they were a little, like, something a bit wrong with him, little off. You know, like, why doesn't he just go on a tanning bed? Why is he putting orange powder all over his face? But what, because people have money, they don't have to act normal? People think that he has a lot of money. Okay, I just told you that the ones charging insurance starting 3300 BC were billionaires by the 1st century AD. They were fucking loaded. So they own him, they own all the politicians. Even ones that you think are very wealthy, like Bill Gates. Bill Gates is like an employee of theirs. Yes, he has some of the bloodline, but he's not high enough to be hidden. The real ones are hidden. You'll never ever see them giving speeches or doing interviews or anything like that. They hide themselves very well. And most of them are hiding in castles. There's a reason why they always show you like Dracula and stuff like that in the castles, and even the old fairy tales, like Grimm's fairy tales. I was reading that a lot of those stories came from the people who lived in the forests around the Rothschild properties. So they all serve as warning. Why is it always that there's like an evil? And actually the story, I was reading that the story of Snow White, it wasn't her stepmother who did that to her, it was her real mother. And if you know, those families, they practice incest, they practice all kinds of horrific abuse on their own children. They raise them that way so that they never have any feeling, any emotion, any love for anyone else. You can't be a psychopathic CEO if you have empathy. It's not possible. They will give their own children a pet, okay? This is all before the age of 5 because your memory is not really quite there, right? So they'll give them a cat or a dog or a fish or whatever, a rabbit, and they'll keep it until the child is fully connected to the pet, right? And they love the pet, it's like their friend, they spend an awful lot of time with it, they're fully bonded. And then they will take that pet and they will murder it in front of their child, and they will tell them, the same way I took the life of this animal, I will take your life. If you for any reason do not do exactly what this family tells you, this will be how you end up. And they will do that even multiple times before the child is 5, right? Get an animal, get them attached to it, kill it. Get an animal, get them attached to it, kill it. To the point now where their little mind is all messed up. So they associate any kind of affection, any kind of love with like fear and death and just like negative things. So, and there's an Asian guy, I posted his video, I'm going to post more of them, but he does a very good breakdown of how the elite really think and their true religion. And he was talking about the Sabbatean Frankists and how their whole concept is that in order to have knowledge of self and knowledge of the world, that you have to sin. Redemption through sin, right? This is sort of like their twisted idea. So by sinning, you push boundaries and you gain knowledge. Because this is what they're all about. They're all about just knowing everything and expanding Like the same way that they tempted Eve in the garden, right? If you eat of the apple, then you will gain knowledge. So that's their whole cult, is just gain knowledge and then you will be illuminated once you know all of everything. But it's only by entering into extreme darkness that you can so-called find the light. But it's a very twisted way of doing things, and it's sort of an excuse for them to behave very, very badly. And they believe that they can just do all of the bad stuff, and at the end they can turn around and be like, oh, God, forgive me. And they'll just be, oh, everything is forgiven. You were just learning yourself. You were just learning about who you are. So it's very warped. But this is what fuels them to do this stuff. It's actually their religion, and they started very young. So I think a lot of people now know that Eastern Star is like the women's version of Freemasonry, but look up what the Order of the Triangle is. Because I was taking the piss one night. I was like, they love triangles. Let me see if there's an Order of the Triangle. And you know what? There effing is. There is. There is an Order of the Triangle. So I leave you there, lads. Just watch them all throwing their hand shapes, all their triangles. It's their religion. In their mind, they're not doing anything wrong by everything that they do to us. You know, they're just gaining knowledge. AI is very dangerous. AI is demonic. Steer clear of it as much as you can. Don't engage with it. Don't go on ChatGPT. It's not telling you anything accurate. Go read a book, preferably the older the book that you can find, the better. Start rescuing old books. You know, if you know an older person who's passed away, if you know the family, I know it's a bit morbid, but like ask if they have any books. If the family isn't interested in them, if there's any books that you could inherit. It's important. You know, in the 1950s in America, I just found this out, they offered everybody who had older encyclopedias to trade them in for free. Now, you have to remember how expensive encyclopedias were back then. So for the government to give you a free encyclopedia, that was a big deal. So what was in those books before 1950 that they didn't want people to know? I'm guessing a lot. And they do this all the time. I even see on the internet, like I'm looking for things and it's gone. Things that I saw years ago, they're not there anymore. So we have to be the rememberers of our own history because they're going to erase everything. And I keep watching videos about teachers here in the US and how the children have no memory, like they don't remember anything. One teacher was saying she was on one subject for 5 minutes and then she briefly went to another topic and then she came back to the first topic again and was asking them questions and the answer was on the board and they had also written it down on the paper in front of them and they could not put two and two together to give her the correct answer. And another thing is that these children are so stuck in materialism mode because I guess their parents bribe them all the time to be good, you know. So if she asks them to do something, they'll be like, okay, but what do I get for it? And she's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, I give you the right answer. What do I get for it? So some of these teachers are like, you know, buying their kids certain things to give them, like as awards. Like you have to get a prize for every little thing, even for doing the most basic stuff. And this teacher was like, even when you do give them something, they're still not grateful. There's no like, oh, thank you so much. It's like, well, is that it? What else do I get? We can blame these ones any way we want for the world being the way it is, but the point is, we go along with it. We go along with it. We don't push back. We don't say no. We don't try and leave their system. People who really think that they're a Christian, Jesus was the #1 rebel against the Roman Empire. That was his job. That was what he came here for. And everybody just going along with Rome. This is a cotton rag, people. This is a cotton rag. I'm just showing you that. This is made of cotton, wood pulp, glue, and ink. This is what this is. That's what it actually is. Like, we make fun of Africans that Like they use seashells, right, as currency. Or the Native Americans, they use beads. What do you think our descendants are going to say when they're looking at this? And they'll be like, yeah, they were swapping cotton rags with each other and they were killing each other over it. How bright are we going to look then to them? Not very bright. So just get things in perspective, please. And if you're putting these cotton rags above being a good person, if the cotton rag is what is guiding your life, I suggest you walk over and open your drawer and look at your knickers or your boxers or your fucking socks or your towels or your sheets and get a fucking grip and realize that this cotton is no different from that fucking cotton. Cotton on. Cotton the fuck on now. Because the day is coming when you are going to go to the ATM and there will be no cotton rags waiting for you. And at that time, if you're not ready, if you are not mentally prepared, okay, if you are in a city, get out. Get out. They say we have 72 hours. I don't think they'll be giving us that long. The thing is, you can always come back, right? But you don't want to be stuck. And ever since this year started, I keep hearing the word siege over and over and over again. And I'm just going to give you briefly one last thing. I work in an office where we deal a lot with commercial truckers. And right now in New York, there's only two companies, two, maybe three, but it's very hard to get into. If you're new, you're not really getting a chance to do it, right? Because a couple of the other companies, they only want you if you have 5 years of experience already in commercial trucking. So finding insurance is very difficult for truckers in New York now, and most of them are leaving the state. That's bad for us here. Why? Because a lot of people don't like driving in New York. How are you going to get a guy from Texas or Oklahoma or even Pennsylvania? They don't want to come over here. If the ports were to shut down and we were relying on long distance trucking alone, New York is not going to get what it needs. We're not. We're not. And basically, New York is just 2 islands, really. 3. Well, the Staten Island is an island. Then you have Long Island. Brooklyn is part of Long Island. That's another island. And Manhattan is another island. So, I don't want people to buy me a coffee or anything else, but just say a prayer for me that I can leave where I am in New York, because I just want to be somewhere where I'm connected to the mainland, preferably Massachusetts, because I like it there. And whenever I'm there, I get so much information. It just comes to me effortlessly. It's very, very strange. As soon as I'm there, it's like a whole different energy. I can't even explain it. But yeah. I'm going to show it tomorrow, but you can look it up yourself. The Economist, the cover of The Economist, what's coming in 2026. And right in the middle, you'll see the graph. It's supposed to be the stock market. And you see that it ends in a very low low. I've never seen them so brazen where they've specifically said on a certain year that XYZ is going to happen. But this year they did. I mean, usually they project things very far into the future, but they're not even bothering to do that anymore. They're becoming very brazen and very in your face. And I think it's because they know they're in the last lap. They're in the final push to make all of this happen. And too many people are just fast asleep. Have things that you can hold in your hand. That if everything goes sideways, have a good first aid kit. Have things on hand. Know how to make a fire from scratch. Basic skills. Knowledge is never wasted. It can never be taken away from you. And go and read Selko Bergovich's book. He was in, I think it was Sarajevo during the Balkan War. And he says if it wasn't for the older people who lived through World War II and were able to go out in the woods and knew what was edible from what wasn't, most of them wouldn't have made it. Now think about it, that most of those people everywhere are gone. COVID wiped all of that generation out. All of the people who were prayer warriors. All of the people who knew about natural ways. It was a mass extermination of them. For a reason. It's more than them just wanting to take elderly people out because they don't want to pay their pensions, although it's part of it. But the bigger part is leaving us defenseless. So just pray. Pray a lot. Doesn't have to be complicated. My prayer every day is I'm like, good morning, boss Dia. What's the job today? What's the job? I don't complicate it. I just say, whatever is the mission today, let me do it in the best way that I can. And that's all. That's all any of us can do. But stop idolizing this bullshit. And by the way, this lad here, Owl Abe, he was a member of the Rothschild Bar Association. He was an attorney. Do you know that the word attorn means to turn things over, to turn property over to somebody else? What he did was he changed everybody from American nationals to American citizens. In ancient Rome, there were 3 classifications of people. You had slaves, you had citizens, and then you had Romans. So to be a Roman, you had to be born in Rome. Citizens could be people from anywhere, and then slaves were slaves. But a freed slave could become a citizen, right? But it's like you're halfway between having no rights and full rights when you're a citizen. So we all have citizenship now. That's what we have. We're not nationals. We're citizens. They downgraded us everywhere, all over the world, yeah. And to the Africans waving their passports and whoever else in Ireland who thinks, oh, I'm an Irish citizen. Yeah, joke's on you. Being a citizen ain't shit. I'm going to say it again. Being a citizen of anywhere ain't shit. Doesn't have any meaning. You've no rights. You have privileges. Limited privileges that they can adjust and add to and take away from whenever they feel like it. But they don't usually add to it, do they? It's always minus, minus, minus. So, anyway, that's all, guys. Tell people to lean off the cotton. Stop being cotton fucking addicts. We should be going beyond that now. If you can't touch it, or you can't eat it, you can't use it, it's fucking useless. So this may be the last spring that we have before things get really bad, right? Even if all that happens is that America goes into a civil war, Ireland is fucked. 25% of Ireland's economy is US companies. So whatever happens here is absolutely going to screw over there. I'm really tired of trying to tell people that. This is one of the last growing seasons where you can get out and learn what is edible out in the woods, what is not. How do you do certain things? Take a first aid course. I would even say take a sign language course. Because we're stalked to fuck everywhere. Verbal communication may not be recommended in time. Because everything is censored. They're not just like picking up on things from your phone of what you're thinking about. They are able to literally pick up on your brainwave activity. That's how deep it's gone. Land, air, and water is law, okay? So they took away the land rights because what they did was everything from the highest peak, from below the highest peak, was made below sea level. So if you're standing at the top of Mount Everest, they said, well, everything below this is below sea level. So they basically made all land water, and that's how they screwed us with maritime law. So that was a 2-for-1 special. Now they're working on the air. So you have coronavirus. It's all about the crown chakra. When they say that space is the final frontier, they mean the space between your ears. Here, and the space above it, and the divine. The connection between here and the divine. That's the space. Because no computer that they ever make, they can only have artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is not real intelligence. What do they want? They want to harness human consciousness to work for them. When we're sleeping, they want to be able to tap into us to use our energy to mine cryptocurrency for them. That's what Bill Gates' 666 patent is about. It's about mining cryptocurrency from the human body. So this is going to be ending soon because they don't want it anymore. They don't need it. And even people who aren't jabbed, it doesn't matter. It works off of your energy signature. Everybody's energy signature is unique to them. And they know how to isolate it. That's why they say, oh, we're hackable animals. Because they're able to capture our unique signature using all of the stuff that they're spraying, right? Because, what do they call it again? Smart dust. The smart dust in the air is making us all connective to the mass, to all the technology, and to each other. So that's how they know what you're thinking, with or without your phone. Because I saw a video of a guy, he went to like Home Depot or somewhere, and he was looking at, I think it was door locks. And when he came home, he didn't have a phone with him because he doesn't even have a smartphone. He went on his computer that's hooked up by landline, and everything was about doorknobs and door handles and screws for door handles and fucking just, he was blown away. He didn't think that was possible. And then he looked into it and he was like, we're screwed. The only frequency to be on is a higher frequency, a divine frequency. Talk to Dia directly and ask him what to do. That's all you have to do. Every day, just be like, listen, I don't know what to do. Show me. I don't always hear what you're saying to me, but I want to. So help me to understand what it is that everything is about here. And you will be guided. So don't go looking to anybody else for answers. The answers are within. The kingdom of God is within you. So knock on the door. A court is where kings and queens lived. Way back when. You went to court to do business with the king. It's no different now. Legals are not the answer. Politicians are not the answer. No one is the answer. The answer is about you and the connection you have to the one that created you. And to people who are jabbed, I just want to say it's important to ask for your DNA to be put back to its original code. Because what they did, and I just found this out, they changed us from a clockwise 2-strand DNA helix to a counterclockwise. So they literally put us on the left-hand path, right? So now we have, if you were injected, you have a counterclockwise 3-strand DNA helix. And people walk past Aspire every day in town. They don't realise that the fucking DNA helix is on that. So they put that giant needle there showing you that they were going to alter your DNA with a needle, and you walk by it every day and you don't even realize. So ask Dia to give you the eyes to see and the ears to hear, because he's the only one who can. And I don't know why I've been given this job. It's not really one that I wanted, but it all started because when I went to get the jabs, I knew they were bad, right? I thought it was the usual heavy metal crap. I didn't know about all this sci-fi stuff like smart dust and the cloud and the 5G mass and all of this. I didn't know. But I put my faith because I knew that throughout history there have been saints who have been poisoned and lived. So because I was taking it in a church, I was like, you know what? If anyone ever said a prayer here that ever meant anything, if there was ever any good soul here, if there was even a moment where there was holiness in this building, then I'm going to hope and pray that it protects me. And all I did was pray and pray and pray. Those 2 days, I just prayed my ass off. And about 2 weeks later, I had my quote-unquote awakening. And for 3 days, I couldn't really eat or sleep or anything. It was very strange, and I couldn't figure out what was happening. But the one thing I was shown over and over again was that famous scene from 1929, the Wall Street crash, of the lad jumping off the building. So I didn't understand it at the time, but now I see. Like, the real estate over here in America is about to tank. If you watch the Big Short movie, watch it again. Because the first sign of problems was with the housing market, and it is starting now. So please take this time. Figure out how to do natural water filtration. You're going to need to. Especially if you're in a city. People don't realize if there's power outages, that means no water gets pumped anywhere. Please. I'm not asking you. I don't care. You know, I don't have children. I don't have anybody else to take care of except me. And I'm on the wrong side of 35. So my odds of surviving are not really fantastic. But I'm doing this because I know there's always some people who will survive, right? And I just want to give whoever that is a fighting chance. So now is the time. Don't wait while you have the stupid websites at your disposal to go and get basic stuff. Get it. These things are not very expensive. Get bloodstone. Bloodstone. It's a type of stone. Look it up. It's very interesting. The history of it, all about it. The ancient Greeks and the Native Americans used it for stopping bleeding. Because Band-Aids aren't going to get you very far if you can't get new Band-Aids, right? They don't last long. But you can have a stone forever and keep using it and reusing it over and over and over again. We've been given these things. We just have to use them. All right? So take care of each other, and I'll be back tomorrow. I didn't mean for this to be so long.